Andreas and Kai from Physiotutors. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for the invitation.
Hi, Ronnie.
We
Thanks for
finally
having
made
us.
it.
This is fun because at this point I have had two guests on at the same time, but they were in separate locations,
Yeah.
like zooming in. So to have both of you on screen with your nice headphones and your nice microphones is very professional, and I think it's going to flow well.
Yeah, me too. I think so too. We
Yeah.
troubleshot some issues before, but we're here.
Here we are now. Yes. It's I was having this thought last night. I was like, this is a little surreal for me because I graduated PT school not too long ago, 2022, and I knew your faces so well from YouTube, from your content online, all of the things that you research as a physical therapy student. You guys are some of the first people to pop up as Physiotutors. You've really branded yourselves well. So it's exciting for me to have you on. And I think listeners will also be looking forward to hearing from people that they probably have heard from before, but just in a different setting. So let's talk a little bit about just the origin story of Physiotutors, because I know you two met in school in Amsterdam, and that's sort of where this whole idea was birthed. It was founded. So just give us a little background on that.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think I can go ahead because it's a bit of my brainchild. Like the YouTube channel was founded after the first semester in PT school. So like we were just two guys moving to Amsterdam to study PT, and in high school I dabbled with YouTube quite a lot already. So like the early 2010s, I was active on YouTube privately, just uploading whatever I felt like. I was a bit of a geek, experimenting with software updates on smartphones back then, and I uploaded tutorials around that type of stuff, and that got quite a lot of traction for the standards in the early 2010s, and yeah, it was just an eye-opening moment for me to see that even like such a niche problem that I'm solving here in my childhood bedroom reaches tens of thousands of people worldwide, and they really appreciate what I'm uploading on this platform. So when I then moved to Amsterdam and I started PT school, of course, you're again confronted with a whole new set of problems to solve as a student. And yeah, initially that was learning a ton of orthopedic assessment tests for all of the different joints in the body. And our lecturers, they would, hold up David J. McGee's orthopedic physical assessment book, like a big blue book back then of 1,600 pages, and they would proclaim, this is your Bible, so you better sleep on this book, put it under your pillow. But for me, back then I was 18 years old, this book was not the medium to study or read up on assessment tests, something that you do practically. So my natural instinct was, okay, let's go to my favorite website on the internet, YouTube, and see if there's anybody who can tell me, okay, how do I do a McMurray test again? How do I do a Hawkins test? And I would not really find what I was looking for, like a really succinct video that has proper referencing of, supporting what they're showing, why they're doing it a certain way, and that I could be done with it in like 2 minutes max. And that was like, again, a light bulb moment for me to say, wait, I can't find this, so why shouldn't we do this ourselves? And right around the second semester, that's when Kai and I also moved in together with another Spanish roommate back then. And yeah, that's when I said, okay, Kai, do you want to shoot videos around the stuff that we learn in class, and we upload that? And I asked my dad, can I borrow your camera for a couple of months for this project?
And we still have it.
The camera is still here somewhere.
Do you still use it?
Yeah, we still used it. Yeah, it's he is also quite into photography and video, so it was quite a professional camera back then as well. So we're grateful, but we're gonna retire it.
Didn't he actually buy the same camera twice?
Yeah, I think like
because after a
3
while
years
he
down
gave
the
up
line,
on
he's
it.
like, all right, it's I think that camera is not gonna make its way back, and so he bought it again.
Oh, it's like an artifact. You should put it in like a glass box
Oh,
in your office.
absolutely,
This is the origin
absolutely.
story.
Yeah. We couldn't have made it without that gratuitous donation of him. So
So there was no, because I was picturing you taking the content on an iPhone. It wasn't, that was not happening. You were like, let's go real professional with this and get a nice camera.
yeah. I mean, I think I inherited that gene from him to have an interest in film and photography. So all around, that's like one of my passions. So it was really important for me that the audio visual aspect of our channel and the branding was as good as feasible back then. Also as a student, having no income. So it was great to get that camera without having to pay for it. And yeah, just buying some lights. I mean, I went to IKEA to get blackout curtains because I just knew, okay, lighting has to be done right. Okay, how can we get good sound? So like early on, we had like a lavalier microphone that plugged into my iPhone as a recorder, and then I had to match it up. And at one point, that translated into like a wireless system. And yeah, no, that was always important to me. Yeah.
So you saw a hole in the market. You thought, okay, Kai, let's get into this together. Why don't we make this resource be more readily available to people online since YouTube is heavily used, widely used? And then when did you start to see things take off and think this could be more than just us having a little side hobby?
Yeah, probably 2016. So that was like almost 4 years down the road.
Almost 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. I mean, that was also the year of graduation, and also the year when we were confronted with the question if we wanted to work full time as physios and probably have physiotutors on the side and just record whenever we felt like it, or and that was the option that we went for. That we said, okay, let's just go all in for like a year and see like where it can go, and work as physios on the side. And this is what we did. And I mean, it still didn't earn a lot of money, but it showed us that there's a possibility of probably turning this into a living. And especially, I think that idea got confirmed when we released our ebook in 2000. Was it a year later?
2015.
15.
Yeah.
Already. Okay.
Yeah.
So in 2015, when we put basically all of our content on YouTube with a lot of extra information into an ebook, and when we started selling that ebook, then we saw, okay, this might be something that people are really interested in, and they're also willing to pay a little bit for it.
Yeah, and I think also because we tried to leverage social media early on, that's also that was the time where the algorithms were rewarding frequency quite a bit. So we saw that upping our release schedule on YouTube to 3 videos per week and posting on Instagram twice every single day, that really, kicked things up a notch in terms of the people we were able to reach, the follower count we were able to grow. And of course, in the past 10 years, things have changed twice 180 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's while one post now can reach millions of people in one go, which wasn't really possible back then without having some sort of following. We see that the frequency, of course, is not that important anymore. I think we've seen quite the changes, or all of the changes, in the past 12 years now, because like I said, the channel was founded December 27th, 2012. Yeah.
2 days after Christmas.
Yeah.
You were on holiday.
Yeah.
That's cool because you guys really were cutting edge in terms of starting to create content online. I think back in 2016, 2015, those days, I don't know if this was your experience, but at least in the United States, Instagram was just starting to take off. People were just starting to realize, oh, this could actually be part of my business. I could make a living off of this. Same with YouTube. It's, as you mentioned earlier, it's changed so much over the past 10 years. And we'll definitely get into that because I'm curious what you've seen since you've really been there since ground zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you started back then, how did you muster the courage to just say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and just try this for a full year? Because I think a lot of new students, at least when I talk to them, they are terrified to just even start a clinical or
Mm.
get in and start working their clinical skills and start that first job. I think it'd be even more scary to say, well, let's put that off to the side and try this other endeavor because we don't really learn that much about starting a business or going off on your own in PT school.
Mm. Yeah, I think um, first of all, like you mentioned, starting your business, that was never on our minds back
Okay.
then when we had the intention to start Physiotutors. Like turning this into a business, that possibility became clearer or more apparent years after we uploaded the first videos. So, I mean, in terms of uploading a video on YouTube, I had no apprehension around that because
Mhm.
I've done that on my private YouTube channel before, and hearing yourself on video, hearing your voice for the first time, like I was used to that, so that was not a big problem for me. Of course, the presentation style and how we perform in front of the camera, that's a skill that also improved tremendously through the course of the years. But orthopedic testing was a bit of a failsafe, like producing videos around showing how mostly orthopedic surgeons first described a test in their papers and showing or demonstrating what they describe in their paper is a failsafe, even for like a first year student back then. So we could always rely on the fact that we were simply demonstrating what someone described in a dry research paper. We were not talking from clinical expertise. We were not really, showing you the ropes how you do a full clinical evaluation or how you clinically reason through a set of symptoms, test results, prognostic factors that you uncovered in your history taking. We didn't do that for the first 2-3 years, I guess. So that came later when we also grew as clinicians, when we've done our first clinical rotations, when we started working, when we started doing our masters between 2016 and 2019, where connecting the dots and the clinical reasoning side of things of PT practice, was more important. So in the beginning, we could just, if somebody had something to say, we could say, okay, this is how it's described in the literature, and we just show it that way, and we appreciate your input. But it was also, we were protecting ourselves like that.
Yeah, to add to that, I think in the beginning when we started uploading videos, I mean, no one cares about it if you upload a video on a YouTube channel without any followers.
Mhm.
And the idea was just to record videos for our second years or for our first year students when we were in second year. So, I mean, it just grew. At one point, we realized that more people were listening also outside of school. And then you just kind of grow with the channel. And it was, I think we realized more how scary it can be when we brought people on because they recorded videos when already hundreds of thousand people were watching. So for them, it was way scarier than for us. We were just like, I don't know, getting used to it in the progress. And to starting a business, I think if you have something that you really like and that you're convinced of, then you just got to go for it. I mean, you might have one chance or two chances like that, maybe in a lifetime. And we said, okay, let's just go for it, and we'll work our asses off, and we'll see where it goes. And I think for me personally, I didn't want to go into full-time physio and then look back after like 5 years or so and then realize that we had the chance to make something cool out of Physiotutors, and we just didn't have the courage to do so, or we just played it safe and went full time into physio to work as clinicians.
Was there a turning point for either of you when you realized, okay, it is time to make the jump, or this is going to be successful if we really put our heads down and work at this?
Yeah, I think after the first year already, like I think from 2016 to 2017. I mean, money-wise, it was still pretty poor. So I worked on the side a lot in a gym, for example, and in the summer breaks, I worked for the old company that I used to work for in Germany. I did some remote work for them just to stay afloat. But I think we both saw such a big growth in numbers, and I think we were both convinced at that point that it was gonna be like a success at one point if we just kept on going.
Yeah. I think early on also we took things really seriously. Yeah, around I think from 2014, that's when we started to put ourselves a bit on a schedule. We said, okay, let's release at least one video per week, and then we would sometimes have 3 weeks of where we would shoot, 12 videos, and then we would have videos for the next 3 months, for example. And then we could, for example, cover our release schedule even when we were on clinical rotations and we couldn't produce videos. But I think right around that time, we saw constant growth. You mentioned 2015, Instagram popping off. That's also when we said, okay, maybe we should. I mean, I had Instagram privately, but maybe we should also make a Physiotutors Instagram account. I mean, Snapchat was also still really hot. We tried.
I remember that, yes.
But handling 4 social media accounts, and also we could never really find the right format for like professional Snap. So we ditched that. But once I saw consistent growth across the follower count and the view count, so the attention that our project back then would get, I knew it's not a matter of if we're going to be able to monetize this, but just a matter of when we say, okay, now is the right time to start monetizing the attention that we have. So that was really clear early on, but we tried to postpone that moment for the right time, and that came with the ebook that Kai mentioned.
And now you have, is it 10 people on your team total or a little bit more than that? I was looking at your website and there's a lot of different people have a lot of different hats there.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, actually.
Yeah. I think we're the core of the company.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. And it's like our full-time job. I have, like, for the past 2 years, I'm not a PT anymore. So I still hold the title, but I'm not practicing.
You're still a PT.
Yeah, I'm not practicing anymore.
Always be a PT.
No, it's I still know what's relevant in PT practice.
Yes,
but, I'm not practicing anymore. But we have Alan, who's like extended core team, like our research writer, and then there's Felix. We have our country managers who try to more regionally get Physiotutors on the ground, and then of course we work with 3 other agencies really closely. So developers, marketeers, designs. So I think if you add all of that up, like you easily reach between 30 to 40 people working on Physiotutors. But
your website has 10 specific people's like headshots, so that's what I was basing that number off of. So they made it onto the website. They're there.
I mean, they're like extended core people.
Sure. Yeah. That's pretty big. When did you reach the point where you realized, okay, this is too much for the 2 of us to juggle, and we are reaching into different facets of the business, right? We're not making videos anymore. We have the ebook. We're offering online courses. We're offering things in different countries. We're accredited now for CEUs. I'm sure at some point you both were like, okay, time to hire. This is too much for just the 2 of us.
Yeah, probably around 2020, I'd say. Correct me if you have a different opinion. And I mean, it at one point you have some income that you can spend to hire experts, because in the beginning we did everything ourselves, and we have quite a broad range of talents, I think. So we could do a lot of stuff ourselves, but nothing was to like it done in perfection or like to a high level of expertise, let's say. So we said, okay, we want to have a new website. So we got in touch with an agency who is actually designing and maintaining our website to this day. I think in the past we really thought we could find people to cover different aspects of physiotherapy because we are really about MSK. We thought maybe we can bring some people on about who talk about pelvic health, neurology, and so on. And actually that was pretty hard because it's really hard to find someone who is good at those topics, who is willing to jump in front of a camera and also be good at it. So I think we tried a couple of times, but we never succeeded in that endeavor. And people are always asking for it, like when are you guys going to shoot more stuff on neurology and so on? But so far that's not been successful. And so I think at one point you just realize that you need, on the one side, more expertise, like I mentioned, for the website or also for the app now, or for online marketing. And on the other side, the amount of tasks that we have to do now, be it support or translations or whatever, it's just not, you're just not able to handle all of that with two people. So we have a lot of students who help us with the translations, or people who just work a couple of hours a week for us. So I think this is how we kind of covered those fronts.
Yeah. And in terms of the content production, I think if you check our YouTube channel, the last video where Kai and I were in front of the camera presenting something, like, dates back probably last year or the year before that. But that's simply due to the fact that our role at Physiotutors also completely shifted into operation and not so much
strategy.
The
and away from
the content production side.
Do you miss making the content?
No.
No.
No, at one point you really do have a video production burnout. Like, I think we both had that or feel that.
Yeah.
Like, now if you have to shoot a video, it's more like, because we've I think recorded around 1,000+ videos.
No, it's like 1,200
even more
videos on the channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like it, but the problem is I am not in that headspace anymore as well, right? I still love content creation, and I can get really excited about gear and filming and all that. And I think I have a deep passion for it. If I could really, or if the time I have in a day or in a week, and also, like, I'm a parent now as well. I have a family. We're not living together anymore, spending next to the hours that we're asleep, all of the awake hours together, and there are not all of the other hats to wear within a company. If I could just indulge myself in that content creation, purely content generation, then that would be, I would still like it, but I can't flip that switch easily anymore. Like, if you really want to write a video script, if you want to take the time to shoot it, if you want to, take the time for the edit, which I just can't. Like, I don't know where to squeeze that in anymore.
Yeah, I think we started as content creators and now emerged into, or evolved into entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I mean, you started just basically making videos, and kind of similar to me, although mine is a much newer endeavor, realizing, oh, okay, this can be profitable and it's reaching people and they're asking for more. And so I'm going to start offering more. And that's when the whole role of you as the content creator starts to diversify, and you have to set aside time to content create. And then I love how we got two different answers. Kai's like, no, I don't miss it. And Andreas is like, I kind of miss it, but if you could just focus on that, it'd be
No, if I could just focus on the gear and, getting the shot and lighting a scene and really just hone in on that aspect, then I love it. But then, then I would be just a video creator, a camera guy and an editor. But I remember that, like, at one point, we shot videos one time with our research writer Ellen, and the raw files would sit on my hard drive for like a year, and I was like, I still have videos to edit, but I just can't find the time and the headspace to now focus on this. While
Right.
there's all of the other stuff of the business that need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And now you've hired out people to continue making the videos that everybody knows and loves, which I do think speaks a little bit to the branding aspect of Physiotutors, because if you go and look at the content you're still putting out to this day, it has the same feel, it has the same vibe. Right now, a lot of people are just listening and they can't see the video, but even the light behind you is, I don't know if this was on purpose, I think it was. It's like the Physiotutors, that light purple.
Yeah.
I think that is a real skill that you have to harness, because it's something that I'm still trying to cultivate. I definitely haven't fully figured out yet. Is that something that was just innate to you, or did you have to learn to grow that branding as you went? Because right now everything across the board just looks so good, and you have been doing it for over a decade, but still.
Like I said, when I opened the channel, like I needed to name the channel. So it's okay, it's gonna be about physios, and like we would do the peer tutoring at school. So can we just mash that together? And yeah, then that was Physiotutors. And from day one, I said, okay, we need a color scheme. Like we need a recognizable color, something that I don't know. I maybe you have to look up the definition of the color purple, but I like the color. Nobody else was really using it. And
It's different.
yeah. And I mean, also the shade of purple also changed with like rebrandings, but I think we always stayed true to that core of, you know, if you see a purple post around social media, like that, you could attribute that to us. So from day one, that was absolutely on top of my mind, that we need to find consistency in our brand. And of course, that's going to be refined throughout the years. And, you know, then professional people also start working on it and they have their take on it. But that's always on our mind.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of input from the guys who do our webpage and the design. So that's how the logo modified at one point, how the colors changed it, and the color palette changed as well. And I think, like, I mean, you are the guy who is more about the aesthetics and stuff, but I used to work for a bigger company in Germany for like 6 years, and they were all about corporate identity, and they even have their own department with I don't know how many people, like at least 20 people who just work on corporate identity and corporate design. So every color, every letter that goes out to a customer, every light somewhere in the building is according to corporate identity. So I think, yeah, that's why I also feel like, or I also learned how important that can be for business, for sure.
That's really good foresight, because a lot of people that follow me or listen to this podcast are considering going off and doing something on their own, and they'll ask about branding or how do I make myself recognizable. And like I said earlier, it's just not something that's covered in PT school. Like, why would it be?
No,
We're learning
no.
other things. Like, that's just not necessarily what we need to cover in the curriculum. So I just think it's really interesting how your two brains came together and created this it's nationally, worldwide recognized product. Sort of switching gears here, but this question just came to me because you're from Germany.
We're
Both of
from
us are.
Germany.
Okay, you both are.
Yeah.
And then PT school was in Amsterdam.
Yep.
And then you went on to get your master's. How does PT school differ, in your opinion, in Europe versus in the United States?
Not a lot.
Okay.
I think I can take that question because I actually applied to Northeastern University in Boston after graduating high school. So I knew about the curriculum. I mean, they had like an accelerated program, 6-year from undergrad to DPT. And it just failed due to the financials. Like, I didn't want to be buried in student debt. So when I could get an equivalent education in Europe for a fraction of the cost. So then, yeah, that's how I found the bachelor's in Amsterdam. And I don't think that then it really differs that much to the US system. I think PTs here have the same challenges. I mean, you can't really. Europe is different as well. Like PT in Germany is a lot different than PT in the Netherlands in terms of the level, in terms of how it's practiced, in terms of how it's positioned within a healthcare hierarchy, next to GPs and maybe specialist surgeons, for example. In terms of direct access, I mean, in the US, there's states where there's direct access, there's states where there's no direct access. I mean, you guys have that challenge of, okay, yes, we are a doctorate degree. So regardless, as doctors, we're not MDs, but it's a doctorate degree. But
It's confusing for
a bit of
people.
that identity crisis of, where do we fit in that hierarchy? And it's a bit the same in Europe as well, where PTs are pushing for like an equivalent status, next to the GP or between the GP and a specialist, because we are specialists of the musculoskeletal system. But in terms of the education, I think you get the equivalent here as well.
Yeah, I mean, our school that we went to, the European School of Physiotherapy, ESP, they started out as a program in Europe that they only offer to students or like to people from the US because their content was recognized in the US. And then I think it still kind of is. And you only have to do your DPT, what is it? Your NPTE. After your bachelor's degree here, and then you're good to go to work in the US if you pass the NPTE. So, and I think the master's that we did is kind of a specialization you guys have as well, like to go for manual therapy, for example,
I think
orthopedics.
You have the OSCE, right?
Yeah. Or what is, yeah.
OCS.
LCS, yeah, orthopedic clinical specialist, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That is sort of what I had assumed, especially since the content that I see you put out, even though you're across the pond, is exactly what we're learning in school anyways. I'm curious because a lot of what I found in your earlier on content, so we're talking 2019, 2020, for me finding it early on, I know you'd been doing this since before then, were a lot of special tests like you were talking about. And there are so many. Any physical therapist can agree that it's probably one of the worst parts of PT school is just memorizing all of these tests and knowing which ones are even worth doing in the clinic, which ones are just a bunch of BS. So with that, I'm curious. Well, I know you're not really that much in the clinic anymore, but what are your favorite special tests? If you have like one that you could you just hang your hat on and say, this is the one that I would use.
I mean, there's only a handful that are really good. Like, for example, a Lachman test for the ACL is okay, or a prehension test for the shoulder. Those are tests that are really good in terms of accuracy. But people, just because we have that YouTube channel and people know us as the test guys, they assume we are promoting orthopedic testing, which is not the case. That's also the reason why I wrote an extensive blog article on our webpage, and why I also made a video about it, because an orthopedic test is basically nothing else than just like if you take patient history, which is really important. It's just, you can see it as an extra question that you ask to a patient and he says yes or no. Like, do you have pain here? Yes or no. It's the same with orthopedic tests. They give you a little bit of extra information, if positive or negative. And yeah, some are better than others. That's it. So you just want to make an hypothesis that you came up with more or less likely. And the great tests, they can really be a distinguishing factor. And the poorer tests, or the tests that have lower accuracy, they just give you a little bit of more certainty if a diagnosis is likely or not. That's it. And I think that's their place that they have in the diagnostic process, and nothing more and nothing less. And I think at one point we just wanted to put out a database to cover all fronts and to show people like, look, this is a test. You might have to learn it for school, also to learn stuff about handling, and which makes sense. But also, like, if you watch this video, be aware that this test is not great. It gives you a little bit of extra certainty or not, while there's only a handful of tests that are great. And that's basically our stance on orthopedic testing. And
Exactly. And
nothing more, nothing less. So
and it's always funny because we get a ton of those videos. Like, we have an introduction for a test, and then we discuss its diagnostic accuracy or reliability. And almost every video has at least one person commenting the timestamp of where the execution starts, so that people skip, the talk about diagnostic accuracy, which is the most important part of that video, actually, for you to know, okay, how much additional value does a result of this test add to my eval. But it always makes me chuckle that people, they're looking for the video, they're finding what they're looking for, but then they're skipping the most important part.
Yeah, it's interesting that people have perceived you as promoting orthopedic testing and saying like, this is the gold standard. This will tell you yes or no if this is diagnostic, if this diagnosis is present, because I feel like every video you post is almost redundant. Like, okay, we're going to talk exactly about, is this reliable? Is it valid? Like I almost learned too much about the special test. I'm like, oh, okay, I just need to know how to execute it. So it's an interesting thing that people have come up with that assumption. Maybe it's because they're skipping past the important part, because you clearly are not saying that this is 100% what you need to be using to make a diagnosis.
No, I think people would be surprised how little tests we use and practice ourselves. Like, it's only a handful, and most of your diagnosis is covered by a good patient history, and then you just do a test here and there to confirm or to rule out, and that's basically it.
Yeah, it's really the burden of our existence that it's so deeply ingrained in people's minds that Physiotutors, like, we get tagged in posts also across social media all the time, and then there's usually like these top 5 posts, like people are like, okay, top 5 YouTube channels to watch as a PT student, and then we're always mentioned as great for special testing. Like when we have a wealth of other videos on our YouTube channel.
You're like, no, we do so much more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really like that hat that it's just stuck to our scalp.
Yeah, it was a blessing in the beginning to be able to start out with as a student and to kind of build our YouTube channel around it. But now it's become more of a curse because people know us from that. But I think we moved away, we did move away from it and have so much more
to offer.
And people often forget that, or they kind of quit, I don't know, visiting our webpage or watching our videos once they've graduated because they don't have to learn any special tests anymore. But I think what we do often now is like so much more, and it's also funny when we talk to students and they say like, okay, how much time does it cost you like per week to do the videos or to do the filming and editing part, and like they think we do nothing else, and I think video shooting and editing is like not even 1% now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if you get on, if you just take a quick glimpse at your website, anybody can tell that you guys are doing a lot. There's a lot going on over at Physiotutors, more than just special test videos. But that's how you started, and I get the blessing and a curse piece because Rehab with Roni started as exercise videos when I was still working in my corporate PT job, and it's continued to be some of that, but also I think you could agree it gets a little tiring sometimes to be talking about the same subject, and there's only so many things that you can do. So trying to grow out of a phase like that is difficult. And I'm also curious, how have you grown? Because you mentioned it earlier, out of the trends, or I guess along with the trends of social media, because in the beginning, I know YouTube was popping off and then Instagram was popping off, and then 2020-ish, you had the introduction of TikTok. But these algorithms are ever changing, and I know it's difficult for people that are basically solely based online to kind of go and ebb and flow with those things. So how have you tried to course correct and at least stay relevant with all these trends?
I don't think we ever hopped on a trend.
Yeah, I guess I say trends. I mean more like how the internet is changing.
Yeah. like what we can say from like a creator's perspective is that YouTube is the most creator friendly platform in our opinion. Like if somebody wants to start out producing content, then YouTube definitely offers the most value to its creators, especially for evergreen content. And that's essentially what we do. Like if you look at our channel analytics, like the best performing videos are videos that were released 10 years ago because they still offer the same value as they did when we first released them, but they don't get buried inside of an algorithm or algorithmic platform like TikTok or Instagram, where like your post is outdated 3 hours after it's been posted if it's not getting that initial visceral reaction out of the viewer. It's like the thumb stopping kind of content. And looking at how we produce the content, and we got some shit from it from other people. I'm not gonna name names, but that they say it's boring and dry, and it's like these two German dudes talking about boring statistics around
That's
special
mean.
testing. And yeah,
I mean, I don't blame them. It's not
Yeah,
the
no.
most exciting content ever. So I don't feel like it's the perfect fit for Instagram nowadays, where
No.
people have like an attention span of like 2 seconds.
True.
So yeah, I think YouTube is the best fit for us.
Yeah, and but we stay true to that, and we know that people use us for study sessions, so I don't think that they expect someone screaming from the screen at them and or
Can
getting
you imagine?
a jump scare so that they stop before the video.
I mean,
But-
what do you expect?
but-
What do you expect of two Germans?
Yeah, I know.
Also, picture someone trying to explain what you explain in Physiotutors, but in a 15-second video that's like super catchy. I mean, you'd have to watch it 100 times to gather
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Exactly. No, so we've seen that change, and we've been heavily impacted by it as well, because the first platforms that we started on were YouTube and Facebook. And around 2016, 2018, Facebook really, I think it was 18 or 16, 18, Facebook
No,
made that
18 rather 18.
18 made that switch from one day to the other, where
Yeah, that's crazy.
like
Yeah.
business pages would not get any reach anymore. Like when they would say, no, Facebook is for friends and families, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to promote that.
Oh, yes. I remember
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
was like them saying, no, we want business pages to pay for reach.
Yeah,
Like if you want organic reach, you got to pay up.
yeah, even to reach your own audience. Like,
Exactly.
thank you for
So-
building an audience of I don't know how many 100,000 people,
pay
but
up.
you won't reach your own audience anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really like killed Facebook.
Yeah.
And especially for us. And I mean, I thought about all of these changes. I always thought about them. I was like, okay, how can we adapt our content? But I could never, I never felt like, okay, we're able to really make a shift here, or without us staying true to what we believe in, and also what we want to portray. So we just stick to it. I mean, it's dry, and we know like growth on especially Instagram is minimal. It's like less than 1%. So we're stuck where we are. It's a bit sad that it doesn't reach
but
our people, but I think also the consumer has also changed in 10 years. So
That's true, yeah.
so we made that deliberate move 6 years ago when we said Instagram or social media in general, building your business solely on your presence across social media is too risky.
It's a ticking time bomb.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Like, I mean, it's also a blessing and a curse that we have those media as individuals, because the barrier to entry to reach millions of people across the entire globe is close to zero. And I think also comparing YouTube as video platform, of course they also now have the YouTube Shorts, but in terms of production efforts needed on YouTube were a bit higher. So you had production And then distribution was as easy as uploading and seeing what it does. Now with like all of the short form algorithmic content, like all you need is your iPhone. Also that the iPhone has gotten so much better compared now to 10 years ago. That's all you need, 15 seconds, and you can reach 50 million people within 24 hours if it pops off, you know. But where was I going with that? Yeah, you can't rely on those platforms to keep you afloat forever, because like we've seen it on Facebook. Like our page was killed within 24 hours. Like if we could export the analytics, and you see from one day to the other, it just tanked, and then you're gone, and you either pay up or you don't. And that's why we said, okay, we need to invest not only into our website, but into an own app as well. And of course, that's not feasible for every business owner, or not even like a viable business plan, because not everybody needs an app. But for us as an education platform, that in our minds was the right move. And of course, it's hard to compete for the attention with those apps. It's nearly impossible. But for us, that was the move, to build our own platform and hope that people find us on that platform, because then we have more control about, you know, who sees our posts and or our contents, rather than being that chameleon that always adapts to an ever-changing algorithm and maybe forcing you into, you know, a format that just does not resonate with you. So yeah. Probably sounds like a boomer now. It's like
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Kai, I think you were gonna add something to it too.
No,
No.
all has been said.
I'm not getting Kai to dance.
I I think there's something very admirable about just having a concept and an idea and saying, okay, we are an educational platform, and then sticking to it. Like, you can't get Kai to dance. You're not going to go on TikTok and start to try and be trendy in that way, because although the consumer has changed, the consumer still is smart and knows when you're selling out, you know? And I think for the audience that you're trying to reach, I at least can speak from personal experience, because I am one of those people that you're trying to reach. I appreciate the fact that you've stayed the course and stayed true to, this is Physiotutors. We're not going to try to create a super trendy YouTube short, and we're not going to try and get 1 million followers on TikTok. I feel like you'll come out on the other side of it and be like, thank God we did that and we didn't try to do anything else. Because not a lot of businesses can say that. A lot of people are trying to change with the times instead of just staying the course of what their whole brand and their whole company is about in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I love a good meme, you know, I try to, you know, keep up with trends or developments on those platforms, and I am still thinking about, okay, how can we leverage those platforms to the best of our abilities, but while staying true to our core principles, or what we stand for, without, you know, selling out, if you can, you can say
Right.
that. But yeah, we realize it's just becoming more difficult to do so. So that's why the focus for us is still on content and on our own mobile application, because we feel like if we can get people into our ecosystem, then we have a bit more control about them seeing what's relevant to them.
Yes. And you have the application, and then you also have courses, which I've taken one that you offer online. And I think that that's a super valuable offering. I don't know if a lot of people realize that. So for those of you listening, if you're looking for CEUs, Physiotutors offers online courses. And I think it was very thorough and just well put together. And the quizzes were good. And I know you do other things as well, but I thought that those two things, maybe not a lot of people realize, but the app also is just good for the regular person that wants to check an app and learn something rather than doom scroll.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um,
I'd say in a nutshell, the app is designed to motivate daily learning with different sorts of content from blogs to podcasts to masterclasses and research reviews on the one side, and also help clinical practice by giving you a couple of tools from, I mean, the assessment techniques that you know from YouTube, manual therapy techniques, a clinical assistant based on AI that is trained on guidelines and clinical patterns. So this is a bit what the app covers. And I think the courses are more for in-depth learning if you want to really deepen your knowledge
Yeah.
and focus on one particular topic. And the courses, I mean, 2 courses are given by us, but the rest is given by international renowned experts in the field. So really the top guys out there when it comes to research or clinical expertise.
okay. You two have been friends for a long time, business partners for a long time. Was there ever a point in all of these years where you thought, this isn't going to work? We have to go our separate ways? No? You're shaking
No,
your head. No?
no, no.
Good.
It's a lot of people ask us that, but no, I don't know. We are really different characters, but somehow it seems to work well. And I think we started out doing a lot of group work and exams together at our bachelor's and master's programs, and it just continued that way. And I think the basis is having the same vision long term. I think this is really it's similar to a relationship, for example with you and your partner. I mean, you want to have the same long term vision, right? And you want to have the same values. So that's like the foundation. And then of course we have different opinions and discuss stuff, but I think also the fact that we have really different talents just helps to work or collaborate in a really successful and positive way. So all minor irritations, I think that's all of those are not a big deal.
That's good. That's maybe not always super common. And maybe I don't know because most of the people I talk to who are entrepreneurs and own their own businesses are doing it solo or their business partner is their life partner, like for me, my husband.
Mm.
Um, so we don't really get the choice to just leave. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess technically you could, but anyways, I think it's cool to see a friendship that ended up becoming a business partnership and that continues to succeed because that's kind of rare. I do think that there are a lot of stories of
Yeah.
failures when,
Yeah.
especially with this much time under your belt.
For sure, we're giving a success talk or TED talk basically to to different students or universities, and this is one of the success principles where we say, okay, find a partner that that has the same vision and has different talents, and we've also seen it with other companies and kind of I don't know, social media accounts on the physio scene that they kind of split up at one point because they have different, I don't know, ideas about where the business is going. So yeah.
All right. I like it. I'm curious for my own personal gain here. You
Mm.
have Kai, you have 2 kids. Andreas, you're about to have 2 kids. I have one recently. And I've been trying to figure out how business ownership meshes with being a parent, with having time for my own personal self and all the other endeavors that I want to do. What have you learned over the past few years with just balancing parenthood and having a large business also?
Yeah.
I think it again helps that we're kind of in the same situation. So you kind of know the situation your colleague or co-owner is in. So that helps. I think actually being self-employed is is a better scenario with having kids than being an employee somewhere because you're more flexible.
Oh, I agree.
We both have one daddy day with our kids, so that's a luxury, but also really cool. Um, But yeah,
The other luxury would be paying for another day of daycare. So it's also
yeah,
weighing that.
that's true.
No, but I mean, it's great. Um, I think for us, of course, in the beginnings, we were doing crazy hours. Like when we were living together and the first years, like Monday through Sunday, like every single day we would work on Physiotutors and try to grow the company. And since we're, I think in your case, running your own clinic, like if that was your own, your sole source of income, like then it's paid by the hour, right? Paid by the appointment, and then balancing family time and business becomes, I think, a bigger challenge. When you're paid by the hour, it's a question of, okay, how many hours or how much income am I willing to give up to have more time to spend elsewhere with? And for us, income is not dictated by the hours available to spend on the business. Since we built a digital platform, and then your content creation or getting a paid partnership, for example, that can offset some of that lost time in clinic, for example. So I think now, also due to the size of the business, we were able to scale down on how many hours are we able to invest into the business and have some more of that work-life balance. And I mean, you could also say, ditch the daddy days and pump out more hours into the business, and then maybe grow it a little bit faster, or get to a certain milestone sooner than later. But what's the trade-off here? And I think then that we both value the time we have with our kids, the time that we are able to spend flexibly, jump in whenever necessary. If our wives are not able to work, for example, if they're sick and we need to jump in, then that's fine. And then us being in the same situation, there is understanding on the opposite side when someone said, I'm sorry, I can't do this because I have to, attend to my child. So
Yeah.
I think you also become more efficient.
Yes.
So you got to
Less time
plan
wasted.
more. Yeah, that as well. And if you have any parents or parents-in-law living near you, that's
Yes.
so underestimated. We both
we
don't really
don't,
have
yeah.
that, but it's such a luxury. Like I envy all the people or the parents that have that, because it's like such a golden thing to have. We have a good nanny though, but that also
Yeah.
costs money. Yeah,
Everything costs money. I
yeah,
I fortunately do have that situation. My husband's parents moved here prior to us ever having kids, just with the hope that one day we would have kids. And so now that there's a baby on board, I get a text almost every day. Do
oh,
you need
that's
me to come
great.
over? And I'm like,
That's great.
I guess, yeah, let me work a podcast and let me see if I can find something to make myself productive while I'm not in the clinic.
Yeah,
So it is nice. I think the common theme here, which I like to see, is it is a lot of work in the front end. It
yeah,
was for me, it was for you. And when you're working for yourself, there's no cut set hours like, okay, 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, and then I'm done. You're really going to be busting your balls for the foreseeable future. But I do think it's more enjoyable work because it's something that you're way more passionate about. You're
yeah,
not
for
just
sure.
trying to build up a schedule for somebody else or make money for somebody else. But then on the other side of it, on like the downslope, once you've reached a certain escape velocity, then you're able to take a little bit more ownership over your time and spend the time with your family, which was the whole goal for me to start my own thing in the beginning. Was like, I want to have my own family. I want to Kai's point, have the freedom to do so. It's a little bit easier when you work for yourself to spend the time with the family. So I think that's pretty cool. Before we finish up, I know you guys have a lot of things going on, especially now that you're in the operations role, less so clinically working. But what kind of things, if there's anything, any new developments within the next year that Physiotutors is going to be putting out that we can look forward to? If Are you allowed to say? Is it a secret? It's okay.
No,
Oh,
no.
it's no secret.
Okay.
I mean, we just you mentioned the online courses, and you've taken one of our online courses, but that was likely on our old platform. So we just 2 weeks ago we launched our completely revamped online courses platform. So the courses look slicker on the new platform. There's of course buzzword here, AI, case studies inside every course. So there's the learning experience is entirely personalized there, so you can read, get new great knowledge, and then also test it with AI case studies.
Oh,
And
cool.
then, of course, like I said, we focus heavily on building our app. So we are in the last stage of preparing the next big update, the 2.0 update of our app, where CEU tracking also is a big part of it. So all learning activities within the app are tracked, and you can one-click generate a CEU report
Oh,
for a
that's
certain time frame.
fantastic.
So you don't have to take care of all of the admin of collecting certificates here and there. You just focus on the learning aspect. You complete a small quiz, and then that's all cataloged in your own report.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, we also started hosting offline courses here locally. That's maybe less of an interest for your listeners, but we have like 1 or 2 offline courses here at our new headquarters because we moved locations from Amsterdam to Haarlem, which is a little bit closer to where we both live, and we also have more room here. If you could see it, it's of course all in corporate design. So the door frames are purple.
Oh,
The
cool. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah, there's a reel on
the
Instagram.
coffee machine has purple LEDs. So
No,
it's
that's so cool.
yeah, it's of course all according to corporate design. So I think those are the main projects, and I think with the app is already pretty cool, but we feel like this has just been a start, and I mean we wanna make it into the Duolingo. I don't know if you know the app Duolingo, like
Oh, yeah.
the language learning app Duolingo of physiotherapy, because at the end of the day, you're basically competing with Instagram, Netflix. If a physiotherapist comes home after seeing, I don't know, 16 patients a day and they're exhausted, you still want them to use your app instead of maybe, the less productive stuff. And that's pretty hard. So I think we have to, have a lot of ideas how to make it more motivating and engaging still. But that's for further down the road.
I love it. That's really cool. I'm curious about the new headquarters. I told my husband, I said, I've been to Amsterdam once, but I said if I ever go back, which now you're in Holland, I'm gonna I'm gonna come knocking on the door. I want to come see
You
it.
should, yeah. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah. Sounds like a
Anytime.
great space. Yes. And for those listening, the app, I can speak to it. I do think it's a really cool tool. I'm glad that you guys are continuously making updates on it. And I do think that there's been a little bit of a trend, at least in the online space that I see and on my feed, of people trying to get away from the endless doom scrolling and trying to make their time a little bit more productive. So this is a good time for you to download the
Yeah.
app. Uh, Final question, and you can answer independently. I ask every guest this now. If you could go back to your physiotherapy school self and not ask yourself, and give yourself one piece of advice, wise words, what would it be?
Huh.
Putting you on the spot.
You have you have any clever answer?
Oh, wise words.
We can't finish the podcast until you answer.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like the standard answer, like be critical. I think which I was as a student. I think I asked a lot of questions and also questioned my teachers, but also clinical instructors, just to learn like the why behind what they were doing. I would still answer that, but that's a bit of an easy answer.
Honestly, Kai, that I have never gotten the same answer, and no one said that. So stay curious,
Okay.
like stay critical. I think
Yeah,
that's
stay
good.
critical. I think for me, yeah, I was always trying to understand why someone was doing something, and like, yeah, if I talk to students who are doing their internship, like I usually tell them like, if your clinical instructor shows you something or does something or corrects you or whatever, like they should have a good reason for why they are doing certain things, and if they don't, then they're not a good clinical instructor because they should have good clinical reasoning and arguments for why they are doing certain things. And like you should too as a PT, right?
I like it.
Yeah, and I mean we've talked at a lot of universities, and for me, like one thing that I already mentioned there is like to embrace a bit of uncertainty in our field, because we don't have black and white answers for a lot of questions that we have. So to embrace that uncertainty and then staying critical of those that speak in only absolutes.
Yeah,
And especially social media is prone to just portray absolutes,
yeah,
because that gets clicks. Never do X or only do Y is better than maybe try some of this or some of that. And that's a bit, our field is full of that gray area.
yeah, for sure.
So
I think that's good because your two pieces of advice sort of work in tandem. Like what Kai was saying at first, question everything. And then if what they're saying doesn't make sense or they're not having the correct answer, be accepting of that instead of just being adamant that it's either black or white. Like kind of lean into the unknown, because then that's where you find new answers or you become a little more creative. So I like it.
okay, good.
All right.
Okay, good.
We
Okay,
can
good.
we can cut out
Happy
the
we
pause.
passed. Yeah.
We can cut out the big pause before the question.
No,
After the question.
not cutting it out. No, I'm just kidding. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. It's fun to get different types of brains on the podcast. You guys are so clinically minded and you work so well together and you have great products out there. Um, I'll be sure to link everything for people to find you on the podcast. And
Good stuff.
yeah, until next time, I suppose.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ronnie. Take care.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.